I think I finally get it. Buckle up. I was speaking with somebody last night who I respect and whose opinion I trust. They're not on TikTok. They're not aware of all the drama-rama, the absurdity. And our conversation steered towards strategic voting. Now look, strategic voting is not new. It's not some radical concept that just came out of nowhere. I mean, a lot of the times that's why we have polls. It gives us an idea of how things are going, and then we make our decision on who we're going to vote for. Now, in an ideal world, you vote for whoever you want to vote for. Our world is not ideal, and so sometimes decisions have to be made. You'd think that would be enough. But oh no, you got all sorts of people making up all sorts of shit. This is the buckle up phase. I don't think I've been shy about my disappointment with the NDP. Now don't get me wrong, there are a lot of great candidates. There's also some not so great candidates. They know who they are. And I've made videos speaking specifically about Edmonton. That's what I know best. Where there are one and a bit, of NDP strongholds. One is on the verge. But for that riding, I think I've been explicit in saying, we want Blake Desjardins, so vote NDP and don't vote Liberal. But that's not good enough for the NDP. This is nothing against Blake. Because the NDP have gone on a campaign of sorts. Now, whether that's coming from the top or it's just rogue candidates, when the NDP logo is attached to you, it's just the umbrella. Now, there are various pollsters around. The NDP or somebody from the NDP even made up their own, copycatting from others. Yet their data, and when I went and looked, and I looked at the 2 Edmonton Stronghold ridings, they only had one of them on their page. It reminds me of Pierre's copy and paste platform. Wasn't complete. But if you're using that website, it's going to tell you that the NDP are way ahead. They're not. We know they're not. If I look at my riding, there is no way in hell that the NDP are going to take it. I wish they would, but it's not going to happen because our world is not ideal. And so a lot of times the point of strategic voting is to try and keep out the person that you really don't want in. Sometimes that works in your favor, and sometimes you have to make choices because the alternative is devastating for everybody. And so I really had to think about why. Why is there this push by the NDP? The false narrative. It's a business. It's a business not unlike any other business. There are people who have careers invested, and when they're looking at potentially not even holding status, I get where the panic sets in. But this is the problem. We are in a situation right now where it is country over party. Again, wouldn't it be lovely if it didn't have to be? But the dangerous rhetoric of Pierre Poilievre and his Conservative Party, which if he gets elected is going to impact all of you, even those sanctimonious NDPers who refuse to see the writing on the wall. And so we vote to try and stop that from happening. Now, because they're a business, they're not just looking out for the now, but they're looking out for the future. And what works in the best interest of the NDP? Well, that would be for the CPC to win. Because in the future, it's much easier for the NDP to fight against the Conservatives than it is to fight against the Liberals. So if they are promoting splitting the vote, which is a guarantee to have the Conservatives win, they'll have 4 years to rebuild to try to win against the Conservatives. If the Liberals win, it's a much harder battle, isn't it? Now, I have always voted NDP. Always. And I get it. The plan was put in place. The polls said it 4 months ago. The CPC were going to have a supermajority. The Liberals were projected to maybe not even hold status. And the NDP was going to be somewhere in the middle. And things changed. I mean, watch what you wish for. The CPC and the NDP both wanted Justin to leave. And he did. And things changed. And instead of taking a moment, sitting back, looking at what is best for the country, because let's be real, the minute that Carney got in, it all flipped. But the NDP just kept pushing the narrative and then got pissy pants when a lot of people went, shit, we really can't have the Conservatives in, which is the best for Canada. And then they went on these campaigns, which really makes me feel like you think your base is dumb, that we're just going to look at something and follow it blindly. We don't do that. We like research. I looked at my riding. I looked at historically what happens in my riding and made the best decision to try and stop that from happening. Fingers crossed. But this campaigning that the NDP is doing outside of their regular campaigning is to protect their business. And in protecting their business, it feels like they're willing to sacrifice Canada for their own interest. It's very hard for me to say that And again, there are some really great NDP candidates. But I think it's fair to say, maybe it's not your time now. And to those not so great NDP candidates, not the flex you think it is. And to the diehard NDP voters, of which I was one, please look at the bigger picture. In ridings where NDP has a shot, make the right decision. But in ridings where they're polling at 5% and are trying to tell you that you should vote for them, when it's sort of neck and neck between the red and the blue, go fuck yourself, NDP. Vote red. And that's what we're saying. Vote for whichever party is going to keep out the blue. If you're mad that there aren't enough orange parties that are going to keep out the blue, maybe you need to start questioning the party. Maybe their campaign should have been stronger. Maybe they should stop wasting their time giving false information to people. It's just my thought, but I'm rarely wrong.